Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Maundy Thursday session sharing. A lot of you may not know what Maundy Thursday is. Those of you who have attended church might. We're in Holy Week. Most of you probably know that. We are moving toward the resurrection, the experience that death cannot hold the holy, perfect child of God. And so this is really the beginning. Today is that first step toward what appears to be death, but what is finally revealed as everlasting life. That's Sunday. So Maundy Thursday is both when we remember that Last Supper, when Jesus brought his disciples and apostles together to share a meal, and he took the most basic elements in front of him, bread and wine. And he said, "This is my body. Consume it. Take it into your own body. Let that be a seed that reveals the Christ in you." And then with the wine, he said, "This is my blood. Drink this and let it merge with the fluid of your own life so that you can flow like the ocean or the river flows." But the main thing that we remember on Maundy Thursday, and what most churches do, is they have a foot washing ceremony. We're going to have this at St. Andrew's at 5 o'clock. If anyone wants to ride with me about 4:30 over to the church, you're welcome to. But everything is guided toward that foot washing ceremony, because it's the example of humility. When Jesus washed the feet of his own disciples, he did something that a servant was supposed to do. And here he was, the great master. He was the Christ, the Messiah. And here he was on his knees with a towel, washing the dust and the dirt away from their feet. There's a great lesson there, isn't there? Because humility to the ego sounds like something that's not so great. You're making yourself small. You're making yourself nothing. That's what they thought Jesus was doing. Peter would say, "Wait, you shouldn't be washing my feet. I should be washing your feet." And Jesus said, "This is the way it has to be. I have to do this. I have to demonstrate what this is really all about. It's not about me. It's about thee. It's always about thee." Surrendering, letting go of my egoic needs to have people pay attention or to put me on a pedestal. And obviously we see that a lot today, don't we? We've always seen that a lot. In every era, every tradition, there are the high, bright ones who are lifted up on the pedestal, and people look at them on the pedestal. Say, "If I could only be like that one, if I could only rise that high. But for now, I'm just this lowly little character." I've never found that attitude to be as helpful as the attitude that I think we practice here more, which is we're all together. We're all in the same place. We're all brothers and sisters, mighty companions. One is not above another. In doing so, we can look into each other's eyes and we can see that light in each other, as opposed to having to gaze up at someone on the pedestal. Anyone who lives here at Namaste knows that I'm not real keen to be put up on a pedestal, because there's really only one place to go. And besides, I could ascend, but still work to do. Instead, I find that by just being me, in all of my strangeness and all of my silliness, and one moment telling a funny joke, the next moment something else, it seems to me more helpful. Would you agree with that?
I agree.
Because I'm not saying I have something that you don't. Whether I'm saying that in words or just the way that I act, I'm not saying that we're different. I'm saying that we're the same. And that's what Jesus was saying. When he washed the feet of his brothers who were with him on that last supper, he was saying, you're the same as me. Get that. That's perhaps the most important thing I can teach you. We are the same. Not the same in illusions, not the same in shadows, but we are the same in light. Now, another person, oh, by the way, I forgot to do this. Now, I was told that that when I hit this, the Zoom crowd hears nothing. Yeah, so I'm gonna just try it right next to this microphone, and you all later, maybe Vicky, you can send me a text, say, let me know if you heard it, but here we go. Nope. I just saw someone. Nope. Whether you can hear it though, you should be able to feel it. You should be able to feel the frequency, the vibration. Just as we're called to feel the frequency and the vibration of the living Christ in each other, no matter what. Not just when it's acting the way that I think it should act, but even when it's not acting that way. To feel that living frequency of holiness and grace. That's what humility is all about. And as I was saying, there is one person that we do hold to great esteem here at Namaste Village, who I think had a lot to share about humility and service. And that is the guy who's kind of up on a pedestal,
Yeah.
only because he's way up there looking down on us, and that's Yogananda. And so right before session, I just Googled a couple of things to see if I could find anything that Paramahansa Yogananda says about service and humility. But here are a couple of quotes. Life should be chiefly service. Without that ideal, the intelligence that God has given you is not reaching out toward its goal. The intelligence that God has given you is not extending, we could say, toward the goal of oneness. When in service you forget the little self, when you feel the big self with the capital S of spirit. I like that idea that the intelligence of God within you extends when you're in service, when you're humble, and are focused just on serving one another, giving. Here at Namaste Village, we have so many ways that you can do that. Out in this community, there are many other ways you can do that. And however you choose to do that, simply do that. Because once again, this is how the intelligence of the divine that is within you extends. Because it's not you saying, I have something you don't. It's you saying, let me give you what is within me so that we can all be together in this experience, so that we can all join in this experience. So service and humility are right together in that. And that is what we focus on Maundy Thursday, the importance of giving and being humble and stepping back rather than stepping forward. There was another bit I found when I Googled Yogananda and humility. It says, humility is perpetual quietness of heart. Humility is perpetual quietness of heart. In other words, it's not striving for anything. It's not trying to get anything. Humility is content. It is to have no trouble. It is never to be fretted or vexed or irritated or sore or disappointed. It is to expect nothing, to wonder at nothing that is done to me, to feel nothing done against me. It is to be at rest when nobody praises me, and when I'm blamed and despised, to be at rest. It is to have a blessed home in myself, where I can go in and shut the door and kneel to my Father in secret and be at peace, as in a deep sea of calmness, when all around and above is troubled. That's humility. I certainly didn't do this as any sign of any outward sign, but it is no accident that I have to go low to walk through the door of my own room. I have to crouch down to enter through the door. I did it because it reminds me, I know my own tendency to believe my own PR. I've seen it. Not as bad as I used to be. I remember when I was 32, when my first book came out, and there was a big splash. It's like, I guess I'm cool now. Yeah. This is kind of wonderful. They're paying attention to me. I'm getting invited to places. Wow. And I can, in retrospect, see how I was getting puffed up. So it reminds me that humility is the path. I have to bow down in order to walk through the door of my own little room. My room, my bedroom is I can go like that and touch both sides. It's barely big enough for a twin bed. And people say, well, how can you live in that little room? Because it teaches me. That's why. The room itself teaches me that it's not about having, at one point I was up here in this room, that's the biggest room on the property. And it was nice, it was okay, but I feel more comfortable in that little tiny cocoon where there are no windows and you have to go down into the earth to get in there. And it's barely big enough for a little tiny bed. And I'm not even mentioning this to say, look at me, but to look at thee, really, because we all are called to this in one way or another. What can we do that reminds me that it is in my service and by being humble that we can be of highest good, that we can serve the rest? You don't have to live in a little hole like I live, or a cave or anything like that. You don't necessarily have to bow every time you walk in through your door, but to be mindful. We come together into a community like this to support one another in our awakening. This isn't just a nice place to come and, have a nice, beautiful place where we can live together. No, this is a place where we support one another in our awakening to oneness, to wholeness. And the path to that is humility. The path to that is service. So if I could right now, I would have you form a line and I would wash each of your dirty feet, or maybe not so dirty. But we can do that in our hearts, just by remembering that we are here to serve one another. We begin right here with the people who live at Namaste Village, and then we extend out to those who join us every day on Zoom. Then it extends out even further to those who are watching these sessions later in the day on YouTube, and it keeps extending until it becomes an eternal, expansive experience. So, that being said, there are two questions that I would like to ask. And here they are. How is everyone today? How feels everyone today?
Awake and ready.
Amen. We love bringing Yogananda in. Awake and ready. Rise and shine. Let yourself rise as the Christ rises on Easter Sunday. This is the approach to our own resurrection, to our own rising in grace. But it happens when we choose to shine, to rise and shine. All right, Vicki, I'll let you come on, and you are an expert at rising and shining, and we would love to hear what you could share about that.
Good morning, Brother James. Good morning, everyone. So it's just such a gift to have an awakened spiritual family to touch base with every morning. So thank you, everybody. And, you know, it occurred to me as you were speaking about Yogananda and this being Holy Week and Holy Thursday, Maundy Thursday, really is the heart of the Renaissance. The Renaissance that came about that Francis and Clare were pivotal in was turning everyone's attention to simplicity and humility. And the natural byproduct of simplicity and humility is giving. It's the natural inclination when we're not self-absorbed is to extend, it's to give to one another. And the idea of service sometimes is a heavy thought. It seems like laborious. But the idea of giving and caring and blessing and healing and helping and comforting, that's what giving is. That's what we're here. Everything else, enlightenment, happy lives or not, it's all a byproduct. The key is, for me anyway, and it has been for years, just to open up that place first where I can see clearly, where my misperceptions about myself and my brothers are put aside. And there's nothing left to see except the beauty and the sweetness and the light in one another. And in seeing that, there's nothing else to do but want to give to that, to want to be with that in a giving way. And that's all service ever was. It's divine hospitality. It's what Jesus demonstrated on Holy Thursday. It's one of my favorite feasts because it's a feast of a big dinner. It's a feast of happiness, of a party. It's a feast of giving and caring for one another. And it's the example that the main example that Jesus gives us to come into our own resurrection, where all our misperceptions have fallen away. If we keep giving, there's nothing left to be in the way, because giving is the light of our soul. And when we step into the light, our natural next step is how to help, how to comfort, and to be present. Like I like, especially now I'm in a new environment, my day is like, I want to be really present to the prompts of where I am right now, not knowing anyone, being in a new place. I have to really listen. I can't take it for granted that people will call or come. I have to be very prompt. That's why I made friends with my tree in the backyard. So I give my tree exuberance. Her name is Exuberance. I went out this morning and I said, here I am to love you and bless you today. Thank you for being my tree in my yard. Thank you for blessing me. And isn't that all we do? And it is that simple, because it is only love. Love gives. It doesn't need anything. I had a dear friend who was a wonderful teacher and mentor to me. And James, you know Molly. And Molly said, sweetie girl, she called her sweetie girl. And Molly was quite awakened. And she said, it's very simple, sweetie girl. She said, you just have to have no fears, hurts, needs, wants, desires, or expectations. If you don't have any of those things, you'll be fine. And that was true. Isn't it the truth? No fears, no hurts, no wants, no desires, no needs, no expectations. Just here I am, Lord. How can I give? How can I celebrate? And giving is a celebration. Hospitality, divine hospitality, is that Christ light in us reaching out and comforting and blessing and looking for the opportunities wherever they are, the mailman, the gas station guy, wherever they are, because the energy of giving is the energy of awakening. It is what love is. And it further awakens us because because there's no two things. It's one experience that unfolds within us, as us, and spills out into wherever we find ourselves. And that's really all we're here to do, and to keep it that simple. And there's no arrogance in that, because there's no separation or sense of I in that. It's just a sense of thank you that we are joined. Thank you that I have something to offer. Thank you that I can look at you with love. That's the greatest thing we can do, is gaze upon each other and see one another, see the radiance and the light that is our nature, that isn't covered over anymore by misperceptions of body or costume or script or any of it. So, and I'm so grateful. Just like Francis and Claire woke up the culture, changed the frequency and the vibration of the entire sonship in time and space by demonstrating simplicity, just being like Jesus, helping one another, giving to one another, healing the sick. There's a great line in the Course. It says, you're here to heal, to comfort, to bless. And you can abolish sickness and death because you made it up. Yes. We made it up. Those are the rules we made. They're not true. We are here to heal the sick and raise the dead. And we start right where we are. When we raise the dead, it isn't necessarily about a body getting up from a tomb. It's about inspiring the spirit of one another to awaken and rejoice and be glad, to sing and to dance and to give and to hold hands. So, and I do want to say, Brother James, many years ago, you may have had an inclination to puffing up, but one thing you did always that saved you, Brother James, you always took correction, the slightest little nudge or correction, very well. And you continue to do so. So I want to tell you, as a brother, as a sister, I appreciate that. And you very rarely give correction, but you very quickly accept correction. So that's a great demonstration for me too. I always want to be able to take the correction, especially if it stings, all of us. That's where we can notice where our arrogance is, and where a little dose of humility is important. If someone says something and it stings me, bam, right there, I know, oh, they're on the money there. I've got to catch that. Let me take that in. Let me sit with it and be quiet, and let the receiving of it do the work of correcting me. So thank you for that demonstration through the years, Brother James. And I love you. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Yes, I remember all the lessons you taught me about humility, and hopefully I've learned. I remember when I first left Wisconsin to moved out to Boston, I had to sleep on the floor of Vicki's hallway because there was nowhere else to sleep. And that was a beautiful experience. I loved sleeping in that hallway. I just wanted to be there. I wanted to be around her and around the others. And it's that desire just to be there. Just to be part of this. You know, here at Namaste, you could be sleeping right there where Sassly's sleeping right now, and be perfectly content if your heart is focused on what can I give? What can I give to this community? What can I give in this moment to everyone? And I know, Vicki, for you, how challenging, well, not challenging, but how different your life is. Back in Boston, at any moment, there could be 30 people who just drop in to see her, literally. And when she decided to turn her house into an international dorm, which is what it was for many, many years, as many as 20 or 25 international students living, and they, still people would just show up any hour of the day or night because they were drawn, it's like this bowl, they were drawn to that frequency. And we are called to be the same. And the same thing's going to happen to her in New Jersey. They're all going to come and start flocking to her there because she is holding the light. And that's what we're called to do. Anything you want to say about that, Vicki?
Well, thanks for the kind words, Brother James. But I guess that is all we're all doing together. We are really with each other, just like we are all at a pajama party. And here's the morning. We get to share the morning together. Just the same feeling of wanting to gather together. Isn't it? It's like the most natural thing to connect and to want to just be near each other and rest in that. There's such a restfulness in that because no one is trying to get anything. And it is all love is. It's being in the heart of love and being honored to be able to have something to give, even if it's just a smile or a cup of coffee. So thanks, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Brother James.
And one final thing about Vicki before I turn it over to Scott to lead us out with a song. Vicki's house, until she sold it, a couple of years ago now, was part of a property called Peacefield. Do you all know what Peacefield is? Her closest neighbor is John Adams, right across the street. John Adams' property was called Peacefield, right? And Vicki's house was on Peacefield. That was the activation point of peace, the field of peace, where we can rest and be at home. That's what her home was, literally, physically on that field, activating that experience. But we're all called to do the same thing. We're called to be the ground upon which people can come and rest their hearts because they know they are loved and accepted. And it is through humility and service that we do that. So Scott, you want to lead us out with a song?
I would love to, Brother James. Anybody want to give me the first sentence to this song? Shine. Shine. Rise and shine. Does anyone want to give me the last words of this song?
Blessed.
All right. Rise and shine. Leave the past behind. Drink of Christ's wine. Just know you're divine. You will be bowing down in you. Liberty. We can strut our stuff without puffing ourselves up. Bow down to enter the home where you live. Let Christ be your mentor, teaching you how to give. When you know you're whole and complete, you wash each other's feet, and you can sleep in Vicky's heart and not feel crowded at all. You're too busy having a ball in humility.
I just love how you do that. All right. So now we're all sleeping in Vicky's hallway and having a ball. Why not? Wherever we are, that's where we are. Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful day, beautiful entry to the final part of Holy Week. Let's really focus on that need that we have to serve one another. This is how it's unleashed within us. This is how we access that grace that's always there. So bless you all. Have a beautiful day. And we say together, Amen, Amen, Amen.
Amen.
Mucho.
Thank you.
Thank
love
you.
you
Keep
all.
laughing.
Love you.
Thanks, Vicky.
Bye bye for now.
Vicky,
Hasta mañana.
La vista.